Very good morning to you. How you doing? It's Wednesday morning, the 18th of September 2019, and I think the good weather has deserted us here in Salford and Greater Manchester. Yeah, it's a bit chilly. Bit chilly this morning. I think this morning was the first morning. So, après, that's Jean Ann's word, après summer. The first morning après summer that I put a coat on. Pretty chilly this morning, but nice. Out and about here in the great city of Salford. Very quick roll call, and I'll jump into the papers then, and one or two other things as well. Good morning to Afraid of the Dark, who doesn't read newspapers and doesn't watch television. So this is my source of the daily news. Not sure I approve of that. You need to get your information from multiple sources, I think. In fact, I know. And don't deify any platform and imagine that this platform is intrinsically truthful and honest and above reproach. Nobody is above reproach, especially me. I'm not above reproach. A lot of what you get from me is opinion. Sometimes educated opinion, sometimes just opinion. Don't ever forget that. It's important. Hi to Martin Ellen and to Who Knows 33, who mentions Zach Voorhees, who's there. Very brief word on that in a second. Tanya Bauer, Jesus Jones, Why Wish. Good morning, Why Wish. Good morning, Matt in Western Massachusetts. Good morning, John Roarty. How you doing, John? Jessica Rabbit. How you doing, Jessica? Tick Scratcher. John Jones. A.U. Kekovich, Ellie Larkin, how you doing, Ellie? And Trevor the Mule, who once bought a dog whistle. It was useless. Every time I put it in his mouth, he started dribbling. There you are. Why not? We're starting with the crap gags very early this morning. Morning, Gail in Cornwall, 2-6. Jason Williamson, how you doing, pal? Jason, I might be honest, but that's about the size of it. If I speculate as to how I have come to conclude something, or if I opine on something, it's honest. It's how I see it and how I view it. It isn't influenced by anybody else. Well, we're all influenced by other people, but I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody, only me, and I am honest, but that's about the size of it. You know, we really should leave it there. Multiple sources for information, and then it helps you to piece together more conclusively what really is going on. But I think a lot of people who consume the independent media, they tend to put people on pedestals, and often they don't realise that they're doing that. And often it's because the person they are watching or listening to is telling them what they want to hear. Now, I know I'm going to alienate people by saying that, but I've been guilty of that myself over the years, listening to certain people because they're saying things that make sense to me, and that can become a bad habit, I think. Anyway, how you, Mel Gallagher? Jennifer in Florida. It's cool in Florida, says Jennifer. Give over, Jennifer, will you? It's probably, I've got to talk in your language now, it's probably 75 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not cool, Jennifer. Get over yourself. Liz McFall, thank you so much, Liz, for the super chat contribution. I really appreciate that, Liz. I hope you believe that, because I really do. Thank you very much. Maureen McAleer, how you doing, Maureen? Nice to know you're on. And to Wayne Watson, how you doing, Wayne? Jason Hurley. It's not sunny here, Jason. Jane Whelan is on the Costa del Sol. Yes, Jane, my old stomping ground. How I miss it. Hi, Pierre. Rose Williams. It's Charlotte, Binns and Burnley. It's going to get up to 21 degrees on Friday and Saturday. That's 21 degrees in UK currency. For Jennifer Garcia, 21 degrees would be, you're going to die. And you're going to die fairly quickly if you don't put a woolly hat on you. Florida. Tuha says, Garoto Colmon interview was excellent. I learned so much. Tuha's like Jekyll and Hyde. I do see the comments sometimes. He swears at me sometimes, this guy, when I make a negative comment about religion or Catholicism or about the baby Jesus. He gets really mad, which isn't very Christian of you. But I forgive you, my son. My son, I forgive you. Because I expect to be forgiven as well. I don't mean to piss people off. I just say what it is that I feel. Jason says, this is the best independent news channel on the planet. That's a very subjective point of view, Jason. There are many who would disagree strongly, and they might have good reason to disagree strongly. We do try here. By we, I mean me. But I am helped quite a bit, it must be said, by Jean-Anne Crowley. It must be said by Phil Restino in Florida. And I want to say hi to Diane or Deanne. I know it's Diane because I asked her before the interview. Diane Emerson, who put me in touch with Zach. Hi to Bruce Blunt. No, Caroline hasn't taken me there. Cromwell Bear. I'm going to quickly go through these. Jean-Anne is on. Wasn't Zach Voorhees interested last night? He certainly was. I'm going to briefly just discuss something that he said which is fairly creepy. Not that it came as a great surprise to us. Hi to Scotty Bolton, who finally figured out how to use the chat on YouTube. How you doing, Scotty? It's a great name, Scotty, isn't it? Scotty's your buddy, you know. With a name like Scotty, gotta be a good guy. I think our characters are formed by the names we are given when we are younger. It's like John Cusack said, the character played by John Cusack in The Sure Thing with Nicolette Sheridan. Nick, if you've got a friend called Nick, Nick's not going to ever do anything but be loyal, right? Nick's your buddy. You can puke in Nick's car and Nick will go, don't worry about it, kid, I'll clean it up. Scotty's like that. It's a great name. I bet you don't know any dickheads called Scotty. Scotty. Yeah. Scotty gets you home when you're bladdered, when you're leathered, when you're Jaeger bombed to be Jesus. Scotty gets you back home and says nothing about it. Go on, Scotty, good man. Hi to Jacqueline, 17 degrees spring in Australia there. Yes, Andrew Bell, how you doing, Andrew? And to Hey. How you doing, Hey? Right, okay, I'm going to stop now. I'm going to stop. Scotty. I said something some years ago on the radio. It got me into a little bit of trouble. I was working on... I was on one Wednesday or Thursday night in Spain on the Costa del Sol, Talk Radio Europe. And the station had a bit of a meet and greet that day, and there'd been a few drinks. And then I went on air. Not pissed now at all, but 3 or 4 pints in. And I began to talk about names. And I said that there are certain names, I said, that if you give a baby, the baby is not going to grow up to be very pretty or very handsome. There are names that are not conducive to good looks. And this triggered the audience in a good way. I started getting phone calls from people. And we were speculating about Peggy, which is short for Margaret. And I got into a bit of trouble because I said, I've never in my life met a Peggy that was good looking. Now look. I know. I jest about being absolutely gorgeous. I jest about it. I know my limitations. I'm no fucking Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise, right? Women are not beating a path to my door. They never have been. Even when I used to be single. So, people who live in glass houses. But Peggy is not good, is it? Do you know a Peggy? A good looking Peggy, Peggy Sue maybe. But that was a fictional character. I got into this. Anyway, there was murders. There was letters and complaints and everything. Because as usual, I took it a bit too far. Right, let's get into the papers. Lovely stuff. Okay. There's a newspapers. Oh, no, we won't. We'll talk a little bit about Zach. So Zach was on the programme last night. He spent 8.5 years as a software engineer at Google. And Diane Emerson put me on to him. I know that Zach did RT, and I know that he did InfoWars, and I know Project Veritas put him out there. But I missed all of this. I was on holiday when a lot of this blew up. And I am the chief cook and bottle washer here. There isn't any producers or editors or anything. So I do miss stuff. Sometimes people say that to me. Why didn't you bring this guy on, Richie? I'm like, what guy? So if it wasn't for Diane. But the truth is, of course, Jean-Anne sent me an email a few weeks ago. Richie, you should get this guy on. And at this stage, I was absolutely wiped out. And I would have emailed back saying, yeah, good idea that, yeah. Not plomosing. There's a word for you. There's a word. My Irish listeners are going, oh yeah, plomosing. Everybody else is going, what the fuck is plomosing? Plumosing, kind of fobbing off. Is that how we would define plumosing, G-Nan? Fobbing off. The plumos. Jesus Christ, though. I would have meant it at the time, but it went straight out of my head. Phil Restino was always saying to me, Phil in Florida, what a great guy. Richie, this guy, perfect. And I look at the guy, yeah, I'll get him on. Half an hour later, gone. So Zach came on last night, 8.5 years at Google, 3 years then at the end, coinciding with the Trump election, 3 years at YouTube. And he talked about how the company began to take a turn towards, well, a rather sinister turn towards censorship and shadow banning and blocking in the wake of the Trump election. I would make the argument, and I didn't want to get into it with Zach last night because we'll get Zach back on again in the future, but I would have made the argument that the Trump election wasn't the catalyst for this behaviour by Google. It was always planned, right? Hence me bringing up Regina Duggan and DARPA and all the rest of it. Zach's a very smart guy, very pleasant chap, very smart chap, and I think fairly brave. I think he's taken a bit of a risk. Maybe he described what happened when they retaliated, when he photocopied the documents and took them with him, hundreds of documents, about their machine learning plans and their AI plans for sanitizing Google searches in the future. Very spooky, that, wasn't it? The example he gave was excellent. You go on to Google, which is the internet, right? And you look up CEO. Now, an objective search, fair search, might throw you back lots of names of men. Okay, because the Fortune 500 companies largely still dominated by male CEOs. I don't give a shit. I know there will be some women say, listen, I don't go in for any of that. Right. So he said, you do that, you would expect to get a lot of male names back. But the machines will kick in and they will attempt to correct the bias of the objective search and bring you back a subjective response, which might give you 20 names maybe, and 10 of them might be women, which is not reflecting reality. That's spooky stuff, that. It didn't come as any great surprise to you, I don't think, last night, or to me, but this is where it's going. We got into talking about how that then could be used to sanitize searches on the intelligence agencies, searches on false flag terror, searches on everything else. The machines bring you back what the elites who created the machines and programmed the machines, what they want you to see, but more importantly, what they don't want you to see. I thought Zach was very, very good. Very creepy when they retaliated against him and sent people around to give him a wellness check, as if Google was concerned about his mental well-being and him being handcuffed temporarily, helicopters and stuff, until a nice policeman said, oh, it looks like you're a whistleblower. And as he said himself, it kind of de-escalated then. These are crazy, crazy times. I know I say that all the time. I know it's become a little bit of a cliche for me to say crazy and for me to say lunatic asylum, but it is, isn't it? I mean, this is absolutely insane. What he did was in the public interest. He didn't steal the documents. The physical documents were not taken off the premises. He photocopied that which he believed people needed to see. And whether Zach is leaning a bit towards it's a bias against conservative commentators or not, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what I think. I think it's against anything which presents anything which presents a credible alternative to the establishment narrative. So it doesn't matter whether you categorise it as left or right. We see that now. It isn't discriminating solely against those who would be conservative commentators. It's discriminating against everybody. And it's going at a pace, really. So that was Zach Voorhees. And Zach is on Twitter at Perpetual Maniac is his Twitter handle. If you want to follow him on there, okay. And that's it there, Google. That's Google learning, Google machine learning and all the rest of it. It's happening right now. And we'll just leave that for the moment. So we'll get the papers on then. We're already 15 minutes in. So we better crack on. Something I was planning on doing tonight has fallen through, by the way. So I'm frantically putting stuff together for tonight. By the way, I'm going to do a phone-in program every second Monday. Every second Monday. From now on in. So that basically means twice a month. So this coming Monday, which will be the what? Which will be the what? The 23rd, will it? Will it be the 23rd? This coming Monday, the 23rd, there'll be a phone-in program. Okay? After a newspaper review, there'll be a 90-minute phone-in program. Just keep that in mind. Skype and the phone numbers I give out. I hear you loud and clear. I am not immune to your requests. And I think twice a month a phone-in will be a good thing. And Monday's a nice time to do it. After the weekend. How about that? Okay. Now then. Jesus Christ, that'll trigger a few, eh? That'll trigger a few. There's the Times. Judges warn to stay neutral. The Supreme Court is hearing from the government and it's hearing from opponents of Brexit. And it will make a decision this week whether Johnson had the right to suspend Parliament, prorogue it, as he has done until October. It's going on at the moment. All right? I don't need to say too much more than that. It's going on. We heard submissions yesterday from QC Panic, representing Gina Miller. Gina Miller, eh? And we heard submissions from the government's QC. There are 11 Supreme Court judges in the UK. There's usually not as many as that. They've added some onto the panel, such as the gravity of this decision. Also on the front page of the Times, new speed limit drivers should keep below 120 beats per minute. When you're driving, keep your music. More of the James Taylor, more of the Carole King, more of the... I don't know. Who's very mellow and modern? Who's modern that's mellow? Ed Sheeran? More of the Ed Sheeran and less of beats. Less of all that. Less of all that, because apparently it's what it gets you agitated behind the car. No AC/DC thunderstruck when you're driving down the M1 to Birmingham. None of that. Calm down. Stick on a bit of "There's Something in the Way She Moves." Bit of James Taylor. Put the seat back. Get the cruise control onto 55 miles an hour. Relax. Just chillax. You will get there eventually. And the dickhead who's right up behind you on your bumper and then passes you out at the speed of light, the arsehole who can barely see over the steering wheel, right? With the beats coming from his little souped up Golf, whatever it is, GTI, you can hear the beats 100 miles away. You will catch him 10 miles down the road at a junction or at traffic lights. You always do. So calm down. Alright? None of that. No need for it. Not even Technotronic. Not even M people. So keep it calm in the car, basically. Not even rhubarb. Right, here's the iPaper. PM abused his power to silence MPs, court told. Yes, they were also told that he didn't abuse his power. That's what legal issues come down to. He abused his legal power. He didn't. And the judges go, why did he? Why didn't he? All right, we'll make our decision. They've been told to leave their bias at the front door. The Telegraph. Brexit stunt shows why UK wants out, says United States. This is the US ambassador to the Court of St. James, Gregory Peck. The US ambassador to the Court of St. James, Gregory Peck in The Omen. Do you remember Mrs. Blaylock in the Omen? Who played Mrs. Blaylock? I think she died recently. I hope she did anyway. Not because I want her dead, but it's awfully embarrassing if she's still alive. Actress played Mrs. Blaylock with the Rottweiler. Anyway, Woody Johnson is the ambassador, and he is featured in the Telegraph today saying that the treatment of Boris Johnson by the Luxembourgish duo Jean-Claude Juncker and Xavier Bettel shows us all why the UK should be out of the European Union. And also on the front of the Telegraph there is Gina Miller. Gina Miller. Yep. Mention Gina. Guardian. Corbyn, I'll stay neutral and let the people decide on Brexit. Oh, Jeremy Corbyn. Hatred. It's a shocking word. No man or woman of reasonable intellect should hate. I hate Corbyn, I suppose. On some level I hate him for hijacking the term socialist or socialism. Corbyn is writing in The Guardian today, and he is saying that when it comes to campaigning for a second referendum, I'll stay neutral. I won't get involved. Imagine. The leader of a political party. I won't get involved. I won't take part in any of the debates. I won't explain to the millions of Labour voters in the country. I won't explain how I feel about the European Union. He's wretched, this bastard, isn't he? Yep. Jeremy Corbyn. I'm fantasising there about... No, I'm not even going to say what I was fantasising about doing because it's not nice. He would offer to negotiate a Brexit deal involving a customs union, but ultimately, if we chose to leave again, but ultimately he wouldn't get involved. Jeremy Corbyn, not getting involved. There it is. Wow. Drives me mad. Drives me mad that identity politics being as they are, the post-fact world being as it is, and I've been on this for about 4 years now, the post-fact world, his devotees have to swear by him even as the facade is crumbling about who he really is. They cling on to it anyway, instead of jumping ship as they should do and admitting we were duped again. Of course you were duped again. The Metro goes with knife crime. It's a rotten story there. Young girl there was knifed to death, and cameras caught the perpetrators giving it the old fist bump afterwards. Yeah. The Financial Times story in there about Bill Gates and fossil fuel. There's also a story about Mark Carney, the current governor of the Bank of England, whose departure is imminent, and speculation looms. A speculation, I should say, endures as to who will replace him. Indeed. The Daily Mirror, what have we got? Prostate cancer cured in 1 week. It's a radiotherapy breakthrough, apparently. High dosages of radiotherapy will clear prostate cancer quicker than previously. This is in the week that Rod Stewart announced that he'd been battling prostate cancer, but that he'd recently been given the all clear. Yeah, massively high doses of radiotherapy. Reminds you of Longshanks in the film Braveheart. Remember when he calls archers and one of his knights says, "But sir, we'll kill our own men." And Longshanks says, "Yes, but we'll kill theirs as well." That's radiotherapy summed up. That's the analogy. Longshanks, fire the arrows, but sir, our men are down there attacking the Irish and the Scots. Yeah, but we'll kill theirs as well. That's radiotherapy for you. We'll get the prostate, but we will melt your fucking internal organs in the process. Cutting short your life, even after we give you the all clear. A lot of damage in there from that poison. That's in the Mirror. The Daily Mail. Sarah Vine has written a very emotional piece in the Daily Mail in response to the serialisation of David Cameron's memoirs. Sarah Vine, you see, is the other half of Samantha Cameron. And they were all very close once. Michael Gove, David Cameron, the wives. They got on very well. But Cameron has gone through Michael Gove and Boris Johnson for a shortcut in his memoirs. Nobody's talking to anybody anymore. There's no more sharing the school run. And Sarah Vine has written a very emotional piece in the Mail. She's a columnist for the Mail, don't you know? Diabetes epidemic hits the under 40s. Of course, the under 40s are one lazy, rotund, weight gaining, mobile phone addicted, junk food eating waste of fucking space. Not all of them, of course, but many of them. Many of them don't understand what it is to go to the Pennines, to go to Yorkshire, to the Dales, to head up to Cumbria and put on a pair of hiking boots and fucking walk. To them, they're nightmarish, that. To them, that's scarier than Dante. What? The open fields and hills without your phone. Fresh air. Yeah. Of course, diabetes epidemic is hitting the under 40s. I have a peer group. I know what it's doing to people. I'm the only one of my friends who does any physical exercise. Honestly. Now, I'm not looking for any credit. I'm not trying to big myself up here. Far from it. My friends think it's funny that I run 30 to 40 kilometres a week. They think it's funny. You're mad, Richie. And one or two of my older friends, I'm not thinking of anybody, some of my older friends going back to Spain days, they're not well physically. I think it's funny that I go on a 3 kilometre power walk with the dog and then I go off for a 5 or 6k run. You're mad, Richie. You're obsessed with your appearance, Richie. But I'm not. I'm a big, ignorant, baldy gammon bollocks. No Tom Cruise, no Brad Pitt. It's not about my appearance. It's about giving my heart the best chance to survive. Bit of longevity, maybe. And of course, ironically, I could drop dead next year. I could drop dead today. In which case, this will be a very funny YouTube video. He fucking died on the day that he said all this. Yeah. But they think it's funny. The food is shit. It's processed food. There's no goodness in it. There's no value in it. The majority of the food you're getting. Your phone. You're eating late. You're not sleeping properly because you have the phone switched on overnight. You're getting pulsed. You're gaining weight and you don't know why. Because this is not greed. Most people are not overeating. There's something they won't tell you in the newspaper. It's not that they are binge eating. No. It's that they are eating shit. They are not moving except to go to the toilet and to go to bed. And they're gaining, well, I don't eat that much. No, but this is your reality. Sadly. I'm 16 pounds for my American viewers. I am 1 stone and 2 pounds below my obesity cutoff point. I know a lot of people think the BMI index is a load of bollocks, but I think it's about the best thing we have. And I don't get it. No, it's not obesity. Overweight. I don't get into the overweight category until I hit 15 stone 7 pounds. Because I'm very tall. Very, very tall. Not these days. Kids are very tall these days. But at 6.5 foot tall, 6 foot 5.5 inches tall, I'm tall. So I can carry a bit of weight. So they say to me, if you hit 15 stone 7, you're into the overweight category. What am I now? What was I this morning? 14 stone 5. 14 stone 5.5 14 stone 5.5 pounds this morning. And I'll stay around that as best as I possibly can. And if I can do it, anybody can do it, because I've got 2 dodgy knees, genuinely. I dislocated my knee and tore ligaments many years ago at an operation, was in a cast for months, This is when I was a schoolboy football coach at Hibernian FC back in the mid-90s. Destroyed my knee. I've got the arthritis because of that. Got problems with my shoulders. If I can fucking do it, you can do it. It's as simple as that. The Express. There you are. Same thing. Diabetes. The Sun. From Flusher. With love. Hero James fixes OAP's laboratories for free. This is a plumber called James, and he looks after old folks. I think that's a nice thing. I don't think there's much grandstanding going on there by James. I think some of the OAPs tipped off the papers, and I think that's a nice story. If you can do things for people who live around you who can't do for themselves, do them. Help people who are maybe a bit immobile. Won't cost you anything. Bring out the bins. If you got a very elderly relative living near you, is he or she living on their own? We live next door to old Dorothy, God love her, in Fallowfield. She was 94 years old. And we loved Dorothy. Very nice woman. She worked as a bank clerk for years. And we used to, Caroline and myself, not just Caroline and myself, but other neighbours. There were some good neighbours there. We used to make sure she was all right for a lift. And we used to also make sure that she didn't have to lift anything. So we'd take out the bins and stuff like that. And I'll never forget the morning she said to me, I'm selling the house and I'm moving into a really nice retirement home at 94. And I said, why, Dorothy? Because she was fairly savvy, you know. And she said, I've begun to forget things. I'm not turning off the gas rings anymore. And I've forgotten how to turn on the washing machine. This is true. And she said to me, never done an honest day's work in my life. She said, can you turn on the washing machine for me? And I said, yeah, and I figured it out. Took me a few minutes. Didn't need the manual. And God love her, she went into a home where she's doing well. She's still going strong. So yeah, if you've got senior relatives, go and make sure they're sorted for a bit of lifting and carrying, bit of shopping, and for a conversation. You will be amazed at the things they'll tell you. Dorothy used to regale us with stories of Manchester and South Manchester and Yew Tree Road and Southern Cemetery and Fallowfield and how it all came to be, as interesting conversations as I've ever had. So don't be dismissive. I'm not virtue signaling here. Don't be dismissive of people because of their age. The things you will learn from speaking to very senior people, more than you'll ever learn from any books. I am telling you that much. Where are we now? I'm waffling on here. I tend to waffle on, don't I? Hi to Tommy Tempo 1. Hi to Kimiko, who says, I don't see fat people. I guess they don't leave the house. Yeah. I don't know. Food addiction is a genuine one. There's a story in the press in the last couple of days about a guy who can't leave his house because he's very, very, very big. He can't get out. This is not a joke. The openings into the house and out of the house are not big enough for him. And he's hoping his landlord will do something about that. But his landlord has said, no, I won't. So the guy's trapped in his house. The 51 Project has a rowing machine. Samantha Jordan says, my 14-year-old refuses to have a phone now. That's great, Samantha. More power to him. More power to the kid that he stays away from the phones. Yeah. All right. What else is in the papers? Not an awful lot, really, today. It's tied up a lot with the Supreme Court hearing. Both princes are featured in the Telegraph today. By princes, of course, we mean Harry Hewitt and Prince William. Harry is going to be making a podcast with Oprah Winfrey. There's Harry with Bryony Gordon. If you're called Bryony, by the way, it doesn't get any more elite than Bryony, does it? Bryony, Hermione, Penelope. These are fucking dreadful names, aren't they? Huh? Bryony. You know exactly when I say Bryony how she sounds when she speaks, right? There she is with Harry Hewitt, and he's going to be making a podcast with Oprah Winfrey. Guess what it's about? Mental health. Because they're obsessed with it. There's his brother. They're so alike they could almost be twins. Not. He is at the forefront of a BBC app launch. The BBC has launched an app today. It's been all over the BBC programming this morning. We've got an app called Own It. It's the BBC Own It app. Wait for it. And the app will send prompts to young users of Twitter, Facebook and Instagram to check whether they really want to send that message, whether they want to think again about it, whether it might be a bit too insulting, whether it might be a bit too biased, or also whether you might be giving away too much of your own personal information. Now, we can all support that aspect. We don't want our youngsters volunteering too much about themselves on social media. That is a good thing. But this is all about groupthink. The homogenization of great groups of people, large groups of youngsters. Homogenization, is that how I should use that word sometimes? Yeah. In this context, yeah, definitely. We should all think the same. Because there is only one right answer to every question. And of course there fucking isn't. You and I both know that. We know about nuance. We know about context. But we want youngsters all thinking the same. We want everybody to be mellow. And we want everybody to go through life a little bit like this. What do you think about Brexit? Well, I think that maybe it's better if we're all together. Lots of people working together from all the countries together is good for humanity. That's how they want children. That's how they'll get children if they succeed. The BBC Own It app. The BBC should fuck off and stay away from our children, I would say. Mind their own business. Just me. That's in the Telegraph. The Princes on mental health. And that's another aspect of this, you see. There is an agenda. And I can say it without fear of contradiction. We can see it play out all the time. Mental health as a topic is never too far away from our programming. It's always there. More and more people from various backgrounds are rushing to a camera or to a radio studio to tell us about their depression. Quite often it's celebrities, stage, screen, television, or sportsmen and women. I'm coming out now. It's almost like coming out. It's almost like the new coming out. Coming out in the past was a positive thing. It was important that gay and lesbian folks could say, look, this is who I am. I shouldn't have to keep it secret. You know, people should be able to coexist with me being gay. That's how it used to be. And there's no big deal about it, but look, I am gay. Just in case anybody's wondering, I am. I have a boyfriend, or I have a girlfriend. That's how it used to be. The new coming out now is people are being pressed to admit that they've had mental health issues at some time or another in their life. And there's something very emasculating about this, I think. And I know some of my listeners, they think I'm an awful fucking idiot and that I do exaggerate. And listen, I hear you. I might do. But there is something very emasculating about this. It is a masculine characteristic to not go into fucking meltdown about everything. It is a masculine characteristic to deal with things and figure out your own feelings about things by yourself. And I know women, and the future Mrs. Allen is one of them. Oh, you should talk to me on. Oh, no, you should talk to me. This is Caroline. You know, and I said, look, I will when I fucking feel like it. There are things that need to be discussed. When it's about things that I am struggling with that affect me and you, future Mrs. Caroline, I sometimes say. But when it's stuff that I'm dealing with internally, you know, issues that go back years, which I have, like anybody else who had a difficult time, I deal with it myself. Like Gary Cooper, like John Wayne. You know? I don't burden society with it. I don't burden my beloved with it. They want to emasculate fucking men now, don't they? You're a bit down, aren't you? You're a bit down. You should talk about it. No, I won't fucking talk about it. I won't. I will not put myself on anybody. I will get on with it and I will do my job. And this too shall pass, because it passes. Melancholy. Don't need to take a tablet about it. I don't need to go to a group and talk about it. And I don't need some fucking corduroy wearing, flowered shirt wearing, recycled fucking hippie telling me that I should share it. Fuck off. Share it. I'll deal with it. Does that make you more of a man? Never said that it did. Doesn't make me more of a man. It makes me a man. And I am a man. Fucking hell. Mental health. You've got footballers now crying about how they struggled during their career. Fuck off. Fuck off. You were under pressure during your career. Of course you were. Because your employer was paying you a vast amount of money. And sometimes you were losing games to fucking Scunthorpe. And you got shouted at. And your contract was in jeopardy. And you were depressed. No, you weren't depressed. You were under pressure. Knowingly under pressure, by the way. You knew when you signed a fucking contract what you were expected to do. You saw players who came and went before you. But I was depressed. I had to struggle with this. I had to deal with this. I had to cope with this. I needed help and I didn't get any. Yeah. This is all big pharma too, you know, and the World Health Organization, drugs. It's also about emasculating men, and it is about emasculating men, and it's also about privacy, interfering, every aspect of your life, knowing everything about you. That's what it is. Come and share. Go admit. They're going to be telling people, admit. This will all come down to social crediting later on. You're not a real man. You're not honest if you don't admit that at some stage you had mental health issues. Didn't you? You did. At some stage you did. Didn't you? No. What about all that stuff that happened? I dealt with it. Mad fucking times, huh? Mad times. Jennifer says, thin the herd and weed out the weak is the plan. I think you might be onto something there. No One's Flower says if they were depressed, they wouldn't be playing football or working. Ricky says men are now shaving their legs. Somebody told me that I needed to shave mine. I told him to fuck off. Well done, Ricky. Good man. Gnostic Agnostic says, Richie, yes, loads of it is babble. Good to talk straight, though. Yeah, but did you hear what I said? Let people decide individually. Gnostic. Let them decide individually. I don't keep things from Caroline. I've been with Caroline for 17 and a half years. I idolise the woman. I don't hide things from her. You know, there isn't anything important going on with me that she doesn't know. But I deal with things. At times I get I get panic attacks every now and then. Every now and then, not often. When I say every now and then, once in a blue moon. And by panic attacks, I get the tightness in the chest and I get the breathlessness. It's a bit scary sometimes. But I know where it comes from. It comes from some very bad things happening, which I dealt with. And I get through it. Sometimes, and that's a very rare thing that I get the tightness of chest. Other times I get down a bit in myself. But I'll deal with that. I don't need to come out and admit that I've got mental health problems, because I don't. I have a natural reaction to trauma. And the world gets you down anyway, the lunacy of it. The madness of it. So you deal with it. Talk it out if that's what works for you, if that's your bag, but not everything. Women do that. Women are an amazing species. I envy them. That's a very feminine thing to do. A problem shared is a problem halved. I'm not saying what's right and what's wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right and they're wrong. But don't tell me that masculinity is toxic. It is if you want to say Harvey Weinstein represents fucking masculinity, but he doesn't. He's a predator. He's not a masculine. He's a predatory fucking paedophile probably. Right? Epstein. But they want you to think of toxic masculinity as toxic because he doesn't speak about how he thinks, how he feels. No, that's not toxic. That's just being a man. There's nothing wrong with being a man, is what I would say. Anyway. Like I said, you'll some of you will say, he's full of shit. Yes, of course I am. Some of the time. Abso-fucking-lutely. Who do you think you're watching? It's not Walter Cronkite here. You know what I mean? Maybe Walter was full of shit anyway. This is all conjecture. But this is how I feel very strongly about this. We have been bombarded, particularly in 2018 and 2019, with incessant television programming about mental health and the need to accept that we all have mental health issues. No, I'm not going to accept that. Ever. I don't need to take medicine or medication. I don't need to tell mental health professionals about how I feel. And this is where it's all going, by the way. No. I have a woman for whom I worship the ground she walks on. And I have a few close friends. Some of them very close by, some of them far away. If I ever need them, they're there. The rest of it, you count on one hand the days of the week or the days of the month that you're truly happy, and that's for everybody. I can count on one hand the days of the month that I'm truly happy, because what is true happiness anyway? We're dealing with all this shit, aren't we? Coming to terms with it. And those days that I'm truly happy are when the TV, the radio, the phone is switched off, there's not a newspaper to be fucking found, and I'm out in the middle of nowhere with my missus and our dog. And that's bliss. The rest of it is, you just get by, right? So that's how I feel about all this mental health stuff. I've given a bit away there. But yeah, the panic attacks thing, there'll be a big scandal now about that because I said that. I wouldn't even call it panic attacks. You just get the tightness in the chest and you get that shortness of breath. Very brief. It's not fucking Tony Soprano, not keeling over or anything. And I've had it all my life. And I just go, relax. Go to a happy place. And I picture myself and Kay Burley on Prestatyn Sands, running naked towards the sea. and I'm drowning, Kay. Right, that's enough of this bullshit. Who needs it, eh? By the way, I've shared with my great friend Jean Ann, whom I wish everybody knew somebody like Jean Ann Crowley. I've shared with Jean Ann some plans that I have for next year, which I think are very exciting. And they're moving forward now, to use that horrible fucking American expression. But I've got some plans next year, which involve me doing stuff publicly. And I'm looking forward to that. So that's something that I hope to be able to tell you about in the next few weeks. Something a bit amusing and a bit funny that we can do in 2020. I'll keep you posted on that. I've got to go and scramble together something for today at 5 o'clock, so I'll do that. That is the curse of the radio producer, editor and presenter. So I'll go and do that now. Sorry about that little segue there at the end, but there you are. And by the way, let me assure you, please do not be upset or do not be hurt. If you are dealing with psychological issues and they are serious, please do not think for a minute that I am diminishing that, or that I am in some way gaslighting you or suggesting that you are an attention seeker. No, Jesus Christ, I know there are issues that seriously affect people's psychological well-being. Please understand that I am differentiating between what they're talking about and the genuine problems that you might have. Please don't put me down as some insensitive prick who just thinks, get on with it. No. I do understand that intervention at times is necessary. Of course I do. I'm talking about them, talking about trivial things. When what you might be going through is certainly not trivial. So I do get that. So don't come back to me and say you horrible big bastard, because I do get that sometimes. I am a horrible big baldy bastard, but not today. Not on this issue anyway. That's about it for this then. Piss off, and I'll piss off, and I'll see you at 5 o'clock today. Until then, bye for now.